In our lecture about objects, we discussed how we can use objects to contain different pieces of information together in some sort of meaningful way. We discussed how objects can basically be anything. They can be a car, they can be a television, they can be a telephone. It depends on what you actually want to do with that object, and you as the developer define what it is that you're going to do with it. So let's look at how we can use objects. Imagine we were going to create a software program for a used car sales company. The first thing we're going to do is to create a new class. We're going to call this car. Now within our car class, we're going to have things like the name of the car. We're going to have the model. We're going to have the age. And we might even have things like how many doors there are on the actual car. I'm going to change this to a float so that we can more accurately represent the age. In our main class now, we can actually call that object by creating a new instance of it. So to do that, we're just going to say car equals new car. And because this is all in the same project, we don't actually need to import anything. But what we can do now is we can access all of that data. So in this drop down, you can see now we can access the age, the doors, the model, the name. We can just use that as though it was a string in this class instead of being a separate class altogether. And if we run that, we should, well, we didn't actually set the model of the car here. If we run that now, it will tell us that this is the one series that we're looking at. Let's just add a bit more data in there. A 1-year-old 1 Series BMW with 5 doors. What if we didn't want to be as specific as this though? What if we wanted to be able to have multiple cars of different varieties? Let's create a new class called BMW. And in this case, we're going to extend the car class. Now what we can do is we can create a new public operator called BMW. And we can set new values for these variables. So we're going to set the name here as BMW, the model. The age is going to be 1.5 years. And this is actually going to override all of this information. So what we can do now is change this to a BMW instead of being a car. And what will happen now, just by changing that, we're going to override all of those details. So we're going to get 1 series as the model. We're going to see BMW as the name. And as we discussed, we can also create classes within here. Now what we're going to be able to see is when we use car now, we're going to be able to access that method that only BMW has. But if we change this back to car, the generic type of car, we're going to get an error saying that this method cannot be found. And that's because it's only within the BMW class, and this class is extending the car class. As I mentioned in the lecture, we can think of the word extends as Java's way of saying put all of this code underneath all of this code. So it would essentially go down here. And because Java works from top to bottom, if you overrode the data anywhere else in this project, you would overwrite what the actual default value is.